Today we're going to be talking about how to tell time in Spanish. And the question we're addressing is ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? Literally translates, what hour is it? To answer, we might respond with several different answers. In English, we might say something like, it's 1 or it's 1:30 or maybe it's noon or it's midnight. So a couple of responses for that in Spanish would be, es la una. Es la 1:30. Son las 2:10. Son las 3:10. Es mediodía. Es medianoche. In Spanish, another thing that we need to look at is that we use ser to express time. Ser in third person is es. So we'll use that for 1 o'clock, noon, and midnight. And for any other time of the day, we'll use the plural form son. So if we're going to say it's 1 o'clock, we'll say es la una. It's noon. Es mediodía. It's midnight. Es medianoche. It's 5 o'clock. Son las 5. We say son because in this case, it's plural, the number 5. If we want to say it's 11 o'clock, we'll say son las 11. It's 9 o'clock. Son las 9. One more thing to note is that the feminine article la and las is used before the hour because it refers to la hora. So an example, if we want to say it is 1 o'clock, es la una. Son las dos. Even though it might make sense to say los dos, that's not correct because dos is referring to the hour, and even though the number dos is a masculine word, we're going to use the feminine article las to describe dos in this context. Minutes can be added to the hour using the word y and so a couple of examples we might say here. Something common that we might say in English is it's 5 minutes past 1. But that's not as hard as it seems to say it would be in Spanish. It's just simply saying es la 1:05. If we wanted to say it's 12 minutes past 3, we would use the plural tense of ser because 3 it's not 12 or 1. So we would say son las 3:12. Also, minutes can be subtracted from the hour using the word menos, which means less. If we wanted to say it's 12:55 or 5 minutes until 1, we would say es la 1:05. If we wanted to say it's 2:48 or 12 minutes until 3, we would again use the plural form of ser, son, and say las 3. Las again, because we use the feminine article las to describe the hour. Always remember to use the feminine article la or las to describe the article, and it will agree with the plurality or singularity of the verb ser. So if we say it's 2:48, that would be son las 3:12. You can also use the words media, half, and cuarto, quarter, to describe the time of the day, as we would say it in English too. So I'm going to say it's 2:15 or it's 2:45. I would say son las 2:15. Son las 3:15. Es la 1:30. It's 1:30. So moving forward, it's also important to know how to differentiate between the morning and the night. We know that to express the morning, we would say de la mañana. To express the afternoon, we would say de la tarde. And to express the evening, we would say de la noche. So for all of these, we're going to use the plural form of ser, son. And the agreeing article is always going to be las with son. It's feminine. Remember, son las is the formula for expressing the time in that manner. So it would be, in English, it's 2 in the afternoon. In Spanish, you would say, son las 2 de la tarde. English, we would say it's 2 in the morning. Son las 2 de la mañana. In English, we would say it's 10 in the evening. So in Spanish, you would say, son las 10 de la noche. I'm going to start with the verb ser, and depending on the hour, choose whether it's plural or singular. And always use the feminine article la or las, indicate the hour of the day, and then you will either, depending on how specific you are, you may just give the expression for the time of day, de la mañana, de la tarde, de la noche, or you may specify how many minutes past the hour, how many minutes into the hour. In the case that you're going to say the minutes into the hour, you would say y. And just to reiterate, and if you're going to say how many minutes until the next hour, you would use menos. So another part of telling time is when we want to ask what time it is. So this question is a qué hora. When asking for the time of a specific event, we use a con artículo definido con hora. Un ejemplo, ¿a qué hora es tu clase de español? What time is your Spanish class? A las 3 de la tarde, at 3 in the afternoon. So let's look at some more examples of this, of practice. If we want to talk about both of these phrases, we know that we have four different ways that we can indicate the time. And to start those, if we want to give the hour, what ways would we start those phrases? Well, we know that to give the hour, we're always going to use the verb ser in either the form singular or plural. So let's drag these over. When we want to indicate when there's an event, we're always going to use the verb a con artículo la. And depending on the time, again, it's going to be plural or singular, la or las, but it is always feminine. And that's to indicate the time of an event. Okay, so this is just the same thing. Para la hora, vamos a usar el verbo ser in singular or plural with the verb la. And then for an event, vamos a usar a con el artículo la in singular or plural form depending on the time of day. Check those, see that it's right. I hope this lesson was helpful and that your understanding of how to tell time in Spanish is better now that you can answer the question ¿Qué hora es? and ¿A qué hora?